Hello students, welcome you all to Sunya IAS. Today's topic for mains article discussion is gig economy. Gig economy is a labor market where short-term positions are very common. And the organizations contract with independent workers. They contract with independent workers for short-term works, for freelance works basically. This has always in vogue, this has always been in practice, such as the jobs related to architecture, construction workers, or the workers employed in different kinds of concerts, events. Whenever the event is there, the employment opportunity is there as a freelance for a short term purpose. But because of penetration of internet, the employment has also been called as gig economy, is also been called as platform employment. Understand the word. It gave boost to platform economy, or what we call as task based economy. Understand why it is called as platform economy. Recently we have seen that particular boost into gig economy. Right now our 1.5% of labor force is participating into gig economy, and it is expected that by 2025 you will find that more than 110 lakh laborers are employed in gig economy. It means that freelance work, short term contracts are there. Platform based economy, because you find every one of you must be ordering something or the other thing from the Blinkit, Zomato, Swiggy. The persons working as delivery boys, they are not sure, they are working on contractual basis that yes, a particular delivery will happen and they will get 40 or 50 rupees as their service. Okay, so these kind of employment are called as gig economy. Right now different kind of services are being based on these platforms because of the internet penetration. Now the question arises, for the mains you have to understand that how do we regulate these kind of services? Will there be any kind of social security attached with term employment or payroll employment for that employee? Will there be health benefits associated with it or not? And how it is democratizing the employment sector, overall employment sector, the India's dream of becoming a $5 trillion economy that can be fulfilled and very well nurtured by the booming gig economy. Therefore, government, particularly the think tank of India, NITI Aayog, is concerned about how do we regulate this sector? How do we develop a policy for this sector? Okay, we will understand about it in detail. Going forward, let's look at the different kinds of data. Let's look at engaged workers, skill composition, global ranking, and projected growth. Engaged workers. Right now, approximately 7.7 million workers are there. And as I have told you, this data is going to increase to 11 millions by 2025. Okay, engagement of workers is increasing. Therefore, we are calling it a booming gig economy sector. And this particular composition, 7.7 million workers, constitute a 1.5% of our workforce. Therefore, if our workforce is increasing into a particular sector, we must look at the challenges within it, what is the significance of it, and how this sector can be very well regulated. Skill composition, this is also important. You understand that skill, national skill qualification framework, government has different kinds of schemes for that matter. Okay, recognition of skills, prior learning skills scheme. So skill composition, what kind of employment does this sector provide? We need to understand that also. The sector provides 22% employment to the highly skilled also. Highly skilled. Now you must be thinking that what is the highly skilled sector for this gig economy? For example, freelance works related to the software industry, software testing industry, drop shipping across the countries where the payment is done in dollars, euros. So these are highly skilled jobs, but on freelancing basis, on contractual basis. Similarly, 47% of employment is in medium skilled. medium skilled, and 31% employment in low skilled sector. Low skilled sector means, for example, construction. A lot of construction work is happening in India, the developing nation, the fastest major growing economy of the world, and therefore low skill sector, even in the construction sector, most of the employment goes from here. Skill composition. So it's a balance. Here you are looking at 47% into the medium skilled sector. Global ranking, if I talk about global ranking, in the flexi staff system, flexi staff, you understand, the flexible staff that work, that staff, particular staff that can come to the office as well as work from the home. And for example, for 6 months, for example, the job of chartered accountant, CA, if I talk about. They work on computers, but sometimes they have to audit also. On-field requirement is also there. Therefore, flexible staffing, if I talk about flexi staffing, India's ranking is 5th in the entire world. After USA, China, Brazil, and Japan. India ranks 5th in flexi staffing. We need to understand that what does this data represent? Is it good for the Indian economy, or is it a challenge for the Indian economy? We lack infrastructure, you know, various sectors if we pick up, whether we pick up health sector, whether we pick up education sector, we lack infrastructure. This kind of ranking, if it is going to improve the flexi staffing, it is beneficial for the India. What is the projected growth of this sector, gig economy sector? As I've told you, right now 7.7 million workers are there. Going forward by 2025, you'll look at 11 million workers. What NITI Aayog has projected, it will be 23.5 million by 29 to 30. 23.9 million. Such is the trajectory of the growth process. And by that time, 1.5% workforce will transform into 4.5% workforce. 4.5% workforce into gig economy. Therefore, this data puts up a staggering figure that this sector is going to boom in the coming times, and India is soon going to take over other countries in terms of gig economy. Although we do understand that this sector got, you know, its initiation into US markets. For example, the origination of Uber. Similarly, in India, we found Ola. More and more platform services are coming up for short-term employment sector, for short-term employment, for contractual employment. Now, students understand one more aspect, one crucial aspect about it. It is going to solve one of the structural flaws in Indian economy, one of the major structural flaws in Indian economy, the problem of missing middle. You know, the manufacturing sector, because the manufacturing sector, we lack that value chain development system. Here, this gig economy sector is going to provide that also somewhere. Moreover, the industries, you would have found so many questions into the UPSC examination related to the, you know, the employment, the term employment. The question was there into UPSC prelims as well regarding the term employment. The government makes such policies. What is the problem here? The industries, whenever they want to exit, because of the labor laws, it becomes difficult for them to exit the workspace. Reason being the rights of the labor. Therefore, some companies employ on casual basis certain daily wage workers. Casual basis daily wage workers. Now what has happened, first time because of the booming of this gig economy, this sector is being recognized. Various policies are being made, and hence it is going to solve the two problems. One problem where the industries were bitterly criticized that they are not employing on payroll the employees, rather on contractual basis, casual workers, and where the different kinds of rights are not provided to the workers. Because otherwise it will become difficult for the industry to exit the space. That is called as Chakravyuh challenge by the Economic Survey of India. Whereas it becomes imperative for the labor workforce also, because under the umbrella of gig economy, their rights are being recognized also. So let's look at these things, how India is going to proceed. First of all, let's look at the significance of the gig economy. Gig economy is crucial for achieving the goal of, economic contribution in terms of making India a $5 trillion economy. $5 trillion economy, and moreover contributing to its GDP. Right now the contribution is about 1.25% to the GDP. Contribution to the GDP, economic contribution for the growth of the economy. Because what happens that into the gig economy, you have to understand that employment creation is happening. More and more number of jobs is increasing. Employment creation, why employment creation? Because certain level, entry level barriers are not there. Okay. Entry level barriers. It means that even if some particular person is not having that level of qualification or education, but has a tech knowledge, okay, tech knowledge, tech understanding, and is capable of delivering the services, limited services also. Therefore this entry level barrier is so low. Otherwise what happens for a particular kind of job? What do we see? The mark sheets, 10th pass, 12th pass, particular graduation, the kind of mark sheets we look at, or technical qualifications we look at. But here this kind of qualifications are not necessary unless and until you are capable of delivering that job. Therefore low entry level barrier. This is leading to democratization of jobs, democratization of employment. It is not limited to a particular chunk of people. Getting this point? So here what happens that employment creation, more number of jobs are increasing, along with democratization of jobs. Different kinds of people can seek that job. And this is going to benefit the overall economy. How it is going to benefit the overall economy? Try to understand this perspective also. The digital gig economy has contributed to approximately $225 billion in volume in 2019 only. It has contributed to $225 billion. In 2023, this figure is expected to exceed $450 billion. In 2023, it is expected that it will cross $450 billion in gross volume, global, worldwide, because India is very good in service innovation into the ICT sector, information and communication technology. The outsourcing of services are happening from US to India. Therefore the digital gig economy sector is one of the highest contributor here. Therefore it is going to benefit the overall economy. Another thing, boost to the startup ecosystem. You understand that startups, India is having a very favorable policy for startups. Right now, the Shark Tank in India also, you are looking at the mushrooming of the startups, especially the ed sector, or the tech sector, health tech, education tech, different kinds of tech sector. This is happening. But these startups do not have that financial space. They need to leverage on the contractual labor to tap into the global talent pool. Then only they can utilize this workspace, this limited financial capacity. In the small rooms also they can work like corporations. The gig economy will provide them this opportunity for the growth. Therefore overall there is a very big significance for gig economy to boom. Now let's look at the employer side. Most of the times employer cannot afford a full-time employee because it is going to increase the cost. Whereas into the gig economy, it is cheaper and more efficient because more number of workers can be employed under one infrastructure, under one roof on part-time basis, depending upon the needs, depending upon the moment. Okay, therefore it is cheaper and more efficient by reducing the operational cost, of the business. For the employer it is beneficial. Understand another aspect, that employer is not bound to oblige the different kinds of health benefits, or even if the employer wants to shut down the industry, the labor code laws does not stop him from shutting down the industry. because the particular contractual employment is not on the payroll basis. Adaptability, adaptability. The employer can, get the different kinds of workers into the organization. For example, if the need is more, a more bigger project is there on the site, therefore more number of employments can be done for a particular period of time, for 2 months, for 3 months completion. This is called the adaptability. And if the skilled, for example, all of a sudden the demand for the work is about skilled labor or medium skilled labor, this is also adaptable over here, that you can change the skill set of the labor depending on the need of the projects that you are going to take over. For example, different kinds of construction projects are there. Okay, for that we need different kinds of workers. For example, the Central Vista redevelopment project, the construction of new parliament, many workers would have been employed over there, you understand. But after the completion of project, the gig economy, the workers, the construction workers, they would have been shifted to some other projects, whether in Delhi NCR region or to other states also they could have moved. Therefore, this is very much adaptable. Gig economy is very much adaptable to the changing needs of the employers. Geographical availability, you understand that geographical availability into more than 300 cities of India. 300 cities of India, specifically I'm talking about the urban, semi-urban cities. Different kinds of needs are there. From your e-commerce needs, e-commerce, for example, the big billion day sales are happening. Different kinds of delivery boys are involved, from the warehouse to delivering a particular product to your home. E-commerce services, food services, grocery service, medicine services, medicine, the Pharmeasy or different kinds of Tata 1mg app are there, where you can order medicines by uploading your prescription into it. You'll get it delivered directly to your home. Even the sector of tourism sector, it's because you understand some areas are there, some natural places are there where you would like to go in a particular season. For example, Goa, during the New Year's, lot of crowd is coming to the Goa. During the summers, you will find that people want to go towards Himachal Pradesh, towards Uttarakhand, towards Arunachal Pradesh. So these kind of things, tourism sector, geographical availability is also over there. Flexible business models. For example, for the employer, if I talk about gig economy, flexible business model means that the compensation amount, they can decide pre-hand what amount the employer is going to pay to the employee for that matter. Depending upon the work, nature of work, it can be decided. It can be pre-decided that yes, if the particular task is completed, you will get this kind of fees or salary for that matter. But also not only this, here this flexible model also talks about categorizing the employment terms, which is very much flexible. For example, you have taken a particular project on a predetermined fees, or in other sense, if you are an employee and you are taking a particular project where per delivery, okay, or per SKU, okay, stock keeping units, the delivery, your count will be paid for that matter. For example, different kinds of online freelancing works like typewriting pages, content creation, per page your fees will be decided for that matter. This is flexible model of business. Completing a book, reviewing certain topics, these kind of things are there. Also, your work can be reviewed based on not only the quantity, but also on the basis of quality. You will be paid, you will be rewarded, you will be given bonus. Therefore, this is beneficial to the employer for the better efficient utilization of the finances. Now, similarly, let's look at what are the benefits for the gig worker. It is an additional source of income for the gig worker. Even the top blue collared economy I'm talking about, they are employed into different sectors. You understand the layoffs are happening post the COVID scenario. Work from home has become a norm in most of the industries, because here it is beneficial to the employer as well as the employee. It is going to save the cost from both the ways. Therefore, it has given a push towards gig economy, and it provides an additional source of income. Why we are focusing here? Just understand one more point. Recently, this case also happened. It was in the limelight altogether. So this is called as Moonlighting phenomena. Moonlighting. It means that, for example, into the day, a blue collared employee is working for a firm, for a company, for a corporation. And also in the night, when the moon is up in the night, the particular person is working as a freelancer for different corporations. And it may be delivering its services to the overseas, employers also on a freelance basis, on a contractual basis. Therefore, this is going to add a source of income, and also for the gig worker provides an income security, job security in case of layoffs, in case of, you know, company acquisition. The employee may not be kicked out of the employment. Therefore, it is providing a resilience to this gig worker. Employee independence. Yes, employees are independent. Into this, lot of obligations from the employer side is not there. The sacrosanct relation of employer employee is not established over here. Only for a contract it has been established. Only for a particular project it has been established. Jobs for low skilled workers. In India, the typical problem of joblessness, we have talked in, during 2010 to 2015, the crucial problem for India, and so many times into the mains examination, GS3 paper, the question has been asked about jobless growth. Jobless growth. In the examination, you can get a question. In 2013, this was asked. In 2023 also, this thing was given a push into the news. NITI Aayog has come up with the policies. In the mains examination of 2024, you can expect a question that they will be talking about the solution of jobless growth can be provided by gig economy. Discuss, comment, or critically evaluate this statement. Can gig economy provide a solution to the jobless growth? Jobless growth means that the GDP is increasing for the country, but it is not correlative to the increase in the employment. Rather, unemployment is also increasing and GDP numbers are also increasing. That had been the problem. And this problem can be solved from here. Jobs for low skilled workers. Okay, here this will also reduce the inequality into the economy. The Gini coefficient that we talk about, it will reduce the inequality. And so many schemes the government is taking up, for job creation, for the self-employment also. Here, this low-skilled workers get a big push from the gig economy. And this big push is coming particularly from the internet penetration. Understand, this is also important for that matter. The different projects such as NOFN, National Optical Fiber Networks project, that the government is taking place for the internet connectivity, PM Wani scheme for internet connectivity. These are making the internet very, very cheap. And moreover, the 5G connectivity network is there. So low skilled workers, if they get their hands on to the different kinds of electronic devices, mostly mobile phones, these services become accessible and they can utilize these platforms to participate into this shared economy, created by the gig economy. Therefore, it is also called as shared economy. This economy is shared amongst the people. Now, let's look at the social aspect of it. So here's what happens that how this gig economy is going to impact the social sector. What happens that social and economic empowerment. Gig economy is going to create different categories of workers. Different categories of workers, by that I mean, for example, because you can work from home, sitting on the table, on the laptops, on your mobile phones, you can work. Therefore, some physically disabled people can also work from home by acquiring certain skills. Students, school dropouts will reduce if they become participant to the gig economy. Why? Because sometimes they need to go out and work so that they can support their families. Students can, are not dependent on their parental income to subsidize for their education. The retired personals, From here, what is going to happen? They will not feel isolated, that they are not being productive into the economy. The economy is going to get the boost. Here we have seen that it is going to benefit the overall economy because number of working hours is going to increase. And from here, we are taking the leverage on our demographic dividend as well as the employment coming from the retired personnel also. Students, physically disabled people, increasing labor force participation rate. Understand that the CAGR, cumulative annual growth rate for the gig economy is 17%. You understand? The growth almost more than the double growth rate of the Indian economy. It is growing that fast. 17 CAGR. Here, one crucial aspect over here is increasing labor force participation, the care economy. We had been talking, UPSC has been asking the question about the care economy. Now understand, students, care economy, that whatever the services, okay, the women homemakers are providing, it is not being economically added to the, empowerment of women. What will happen with the boost of this gig economy? Now more nanny care institutions will be set up, led by different women entrepreneurs into the cities, which is a very new culture right now in India, but it will be adopted very, very soon. Therefore, it will lead to indirectly social empowerment of the women also. Economizing the care economy, social inclusion, lot of vulnerable sections, marginal sections, they will also be provided jobs coming from the various sectors, adapting to the migration also. They will be getting jobs, social inclusion will be there. As here we have discussed how it is helpful in reducing the inequality. Earning potential. Earning potential means a particular person can be a full-time employee also in a particular firm, as well as the person can do freelancing work by moonlighting. Earning potential is more. Increased efficiency. The jobs into this freelancing can be, rescheduled. For example, if a person is driving Ola or Uber for that matter, on a particular day, because the person has some personal work, therefore he or she decided that yes, from morning 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the afternoon, I am not ready to work. I'll work only after 2 p.m. Therefore, you have managed your own time. Unlike the routine jobs where you have to go office or take a leave from the office. Similarly, for example, certain projects of content creation or content reviewing is there. Then what you can do is, if you're not free in the morning, you can reschedule the task to the evening on your own, time, on your own schedule. You can work. Here the flexibility is more. This is going to increase the efficiency. Hedging post-pandemic risks. Post-pandemic risk, lot of layoffs are happening. And if you are having one feet into the gig economy, therefore you are secured. You have secured your job potential. Flexibility and diversity to the workers. Of course, it is providing a lot of flexibility and diversity to the workers from the perspective of convenience of the job, which they want to do, at what time they want to do, which place they want to do. These kind of convenience factors are provided. Therefore, here we have looked into the different kinds of significance of the gig economy. And because it presents a lot of significance, there must be some challenges. What are the potential challenges into this gig economy? Let's look into it. The first issue is ambiguous definition, legal issue. We want to look at what are the legal challenges of the gig economy. What is the definition? Because contractual labor are of different types. How do we classify that labor? Therefore, here the employment definition, the employment relationship between employer and employee is not well established in many cases. Vague definition is there. Lack of union for wage bargaining. Trade unions are there. They bargain for different kinds of wages. Here what happens that certain high skilled labor, for example, content creators are there. They can bargain a very well remuneration for their work. But the low end workers, such as the, chauffeurs, Ola or Uber drivers, delivery boys, they are not able to bargain for their work. Therefore, it does not make much remunerative for them. Also, what has happened that it has been found that most of the daily wage workers are not able to meet up their monthly expenses by doing these kind of freelance works. Lack of legal protection. Lack of legal protection by that, For example, recently a case has happened in US, United States of America, where the Uber wants that its employees should work and behave in a manner that they are full-time employed, but without any obligation of giving them perks. This sector largely thrives as unregulated sector. Therefore, it is the onus of the government. This is the part of the governance, economic governance. How do we look at the macro economic prudential? How we can regulate it in a better manner. Next is the economic challenges faced by the gig economy. Employer related and gig worker. Employer related, you know, employee commitment. Employee commitment. How do they ensure that even if it is part-term employment, the worker should work with due diligence? The worker should be committed towards the job and should not just complete it anyhow. The quality of the work, basically ensuring the quality of the work. Employer relationship. Demand supply mismatch. Already, because of the booming of gig economies, if most of the people, online creators, if I talk about, so many workers have already been there, so many delivery boys are out there most of the time. For example, in the lean weather season, for example, if it is rainy season, demand is very high. That time it is good, gig economy is working perfectly. How do we want it? But otherwise, the demand and supply mismatch is there. Demand for the gig economy, demand from the gig economy is less, whereas workers or the supply from the gig economy is more, and that creates a cognitive taxation on the minds of the workers because they are not adequately rewarded for that work. Gig worker, job insecurity, they are not able to ensure that I will get the next work or not. This is basically task economy. For a particular task, an employment contract has been done. If the task is over, the job is over. Then the person is again in search of a new job. When and where the person will get the job is not sure. No fixed pay. For a particular work, every time you have to get involved into a contractual terms and conditions. Therefore, in the monthly expenses, it becomes difficult to manage. Lack of social security benefits. You understand, this is a big case over here. For example, if a person is employed on a payroll basis, then what happens? Provident fund schemes are there, ESI, health benefits, okay, insurance, different kinds of insurance products are there. But here, no social security benefits are provided to the workers. That makes their job more difficult. Unstable income, as I have discussed already, job insecurity, unstable income is there. You are not sure about how the next employment will be there. Now let's look at the social aspects. Working conditions. If I talk about working conditions, they are not properly done. Their job hours are not fixed. Their job hours are not fixed. Task to task basis, they have to complete one job. Similarly, this financial mismatch is there. Financial mismatch means that earning versus expenses. Earning versus expenses. Okay, catalyst and karma. Catalyst and karma life research have shown that more than 88% of the employees run out of their expenses, their monthly expenses, because they are not able to generate income. Therefore, it is a financial mismatch. Social security, how they would ensure? They do not have even insurance for that matter. Regional disparity. If we go to the rural areas, we had been talking about 300 cities. I have given you so many examples for that. But if we go into the rural areas, because of the lack of internet penetration, because of the lack of the demand in those areas, there is less scope for the booming of gig economy. Therefore, somewhere it will promote migration. Inequality among gig economy workers. As we have discussed the problem over here, the skilled workers, high skilled workers, they are only able to get more and more remuneration, whereas medium or low skilled worker does not have that bargaining capability. Digital divide is there. Of course, digital divide, it means the lack of internet connectivity, the lack of electricity also. Both the things are important for the particular booming of this digital gig economy. If they can be participant of the digital gig economy, that will be more beneficial to them. Therefore, this is leading to the digital inequality or the problem of digital divide. Now let's look at some of the government initiatives into the labor codes, e-Shram portal, and the raise approach of NITI Aayog. Here, into the labor codes, code on social security. It says that it talks about the and state government, center and state government, both of them can put on different kinds of schemes. It can release these schemes into the sector, into the market, that can cover different kinds of benefits to the gig employment. Because particular kind of state, for example, into the NCR region, the government of Delhi can float a scheme for that matter. For the particular kind of vendors, like we have a scheme for the gig economy sector also, we can have scheme. Or for the state of Haryana, for the state of UP, for the state of Maharashtra, and particularly for cities also, the state and central governments can bring in certain schemes to benefit this labor participation. Next we have is e-Shram portal. This Shram portal is about creation of a database. Because, evidence-based policy making is very important. Understand this word, evidence-based policy making. This database provides us how much, particular sector the employment is gig. And accordingly, what we can do is we can proceed with different kinds of government benefits into the e-Shram is about data collection. Raise approach of NITI Aayog. This you can put into your way forward as well. Raise approach. Okay, it is about recognizing the varied nature of the gig economy. R is for the recognizing the varied nature of the gig economy. A is about awareness. Okay, it is about allowing this awareness and allowing the bigger fintech companies, basically allowing awareness and fintech to provide finances to these kind of booming gig economy. They can invest into this platform. Okay. I is for incorporating different kinds of designs, factoring in the impact of the gig economy, different impacts. Therefore, design of the particular policies or the compensation methods, business models. Therefore, this needs to be incorporated. S is for the support, and E is to ensure, support different kinds of gig workers in becoming a part of the various government benefit programs for that matter. And we will ensure that benefits are readily accessible to the different kinds of gig workers. Now let's look at the way forward. Okay. Access to institutional credit, providing collateral loans, outcome-based skilling, employee status, extension of benefits, occupational insurance, R&D, legislative regulation, and ensuring minimum wages. These things could be enhanced through institutional credit, access to institutional credit. Money is important for the platform workers. For example, if platform workers wants to create their own platform tomorrow, that could be more efficient, and they had been working under somebody, the freelance workers, now they want their own platform to work with. Therefore, there should be an access to the institutional credit for that matter. It will also boost our startup ecosystem. Providing collateral loans, specifically to women, collateral based loans, that for example you can put something on the collateral and then the development can happen. These things are about financing the gig economy. How do we finance the platform services? So collateral based loan should be provided. A cash flow system should be decided, because banks do not recognize the feasibility of the gig economy. Sometimes banks does not give loan. For example, tomorrow a particular kind of workers want to start their own infrastructure, and they go to the bank and put on their plan. That might not be very well recognized. Therefore, a plan should be laid out that how the particular platforms can get collateral loans, specifically the women. Outcome based skilling for a gig worker, a person, low skilled worker we have talked about, they needs to get some training. On job training should be there. On job training for the better output of the worker. Small training, a small manual, a small exercise can change the service output altogether. Employee status, here you need to understand that right now how do we define them? As a casual worker, we define them, we call them gig economy. Even the high end economy, we define it as a gig economy. But what is the employee status? Basically, I want to ask that what is the relationship between the employer and the employee? It means that, for example, if a particular car driver meets with an accident, what will be the expectations, whether the particular employer will just terminate the particular employee or give some health benefits. The number of days the person will not be able to work, who will compensate for it? If the individual is not feeling healthy enough to work for that day, will he or she will not be paid for that day? What about the health leave, sick leave? Therefore, employee status, what has happened in the Ontario and California. This is a case study that you can use. Ontario and California. There, particularly Uber, there had been changes into the labor laws, and it has recognized that yes, our Uber drivers are our employees, and we will ensure that they will get minimum wages. They will get minimum wages and welfare benefits like an employee. They have made changes into their labor codes, labor laws. Therefore, this status could be uplifted. What we can do as a way forward, you can suggest that if a particular employee who has started a job into a particular gig economy, for example, let's call it Uber, Ola, or Zomato, Swiggy, and had been working there for at least a year, for at least 1 year, then the person will be recognized as an employee, as a reward, as a benefit that will provide more loyalty towards the company, towards the employer, and will generate a quality product. Quality outcome will be there. Extension of benefits, how these benefits could be extended. Okay, to post pandemic health hazard, we have seen sick leaves, different kinds of problems are happening. Therefore, extension of these benefits, this benefits of an employee should be extended towards the gig economy also, just like an employee. Occupational insurance, occupational hazards, we understand every occupation has some hazard associated with it. So do we cover that occupational insurance? Do we cover under that? Therefore, insurance benefits, different government schemes are coming up for providing insurance products. And we have discussed about it in our integrated current affairs class also, how internet penetration is very important. Right now, India is at the cusp of booming insurance market. This insurance sector, insurance density is increasing, and as soon as we will be elevating ourselves to the level of developed nation by 2047, the insurance sector will become huge in India. Therefore, how do we cover these people under the insurance brackets? Boosting research and development. Innovative tools should be brought into the design itself, that we have talked about incorporating into design, so that less discrimination should happen and more productivity will be there, specifically in terms of like data, monitoring the data. Okay, here if I talk about particularly occupational insurance, like Indonesia, the country that has said that whenever a gig worker also meets with an accident, then it will be provided all the due cost associated with it, all the compensation benefits associated with it. We have a legislative vacuum here in the gig workers. We are talking about it. We are devising ideas. We are, you know, understanding the significance from a macroeconomic perspective. But we have still a legislative vacuum to regulate gig economy in India. We need to devise a proper law. A new law is required. The codification of labor laws we have done, but a law for regulating the gig economy is the need of the hour. Ensuring minimum wages. Understand what we have discussed into the way forward by giving different examples is: first, credit flow should be there, money flow should be there from a proper formal channel. Outcome based learning, training should be there. Then employee, how the relationship has to be decided. For that we need to understand that whatever be the conditions, the employer must be providing certain facilities, certain perks, certain health benefits, and here this insurance must be given. Data should be there, and ensuring minimum wages, at least some minimum wages as per the law should be guaranteed to the employee by the employer. Okay, hope you understood this thing. Now let's look at the conclusion, and into the conclusion we will talk about what NITI Aayog envisages for it. So NITI Aayog report has talked about things: social security, social security. It has huge connotation. It includes the paid leave also, health benefits, okay, insurance, pension. This has huge ambit, social security. Then second aspect is we should be focusing into the gig economy for incentivizing the women. Incentivizing women, women workforce. Incentivizing women workforce. Incentivizing women workforce. And here what our focus will be upon: gender equality. Our focus is on gender equality. How do we ensure that gender equality? And expanding, expanding the gig economy. It is imperative for India to become $5 trillion economy. You understand? $5 trillion economy, and increase the employment sector. We need to focus on the gig economy, particularly from the perspective of social security. You understand? Once the employer is ready, because it costs the employer, and the obligation from the employer side should be there for ensuring the social security and gender equality. More than that, breaking the stereotypes into the workforce, into the gig economy, because most of the services are internet based. Okay, so here this stereotype should be, broken down, and we need to expand our gig economy for increasing the employment sector. Okay, so Ayog has recommended for providing social security, paid leave, even occupational diseases, accident insurance during irregularity of work, and pension plans for country's gig economy. At the same time, the interest of gig workers must be protected by providing them with better working conditions as well as different kinds of social security benefits. I hope this topic is right now clear, because it is a new area into the economy where we are venturing in, and we need to have proper regulation for that matter. So students, thank you, and subscribe to Sunya channel, that is t.me/Sunya notes 50, Sunya notes 50. And in this channel, what will happen, you will get access to different kinds of updates, whatever we are launching, and also the PDF you will get into the GS 1, 2, 3 books, GS 1, GS 2 and GS 3 books of Sunya IAS. You can have these books with the video lectures. We are explaining in detail the conceptions of it and the latest development related to it. so that you can have the comprehensive information related to that topic. So thank you very much.